So you may have heard the news. Disney is making another Star Wars movie that continues the sequel trilogy and continues to focus on main character Rey Palpatine. She's a Palpatine. She's not a Skywalker. You don't get to just take someone else's family name because it makes you feel better. She's a Palpatine. Anyway. On top of the news that Disney is doubling down on Rey, we've also learned that Kathleen Kennedy has chosen the director for this movie. Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, a feminist filmmaker who previously worked for Disney, directing a couple episodes of the Ms. Marvel D+ show. She's won some awards as a documentary filmmaker as well. The thing is, Chinoy is another leftist activist caught up in identity politics and likes to joke about making men feel uncomfortable.
I like to make men uncomfortable. I enjoy making men uncomfortable.
In one of her first statements after being named director, Chinoy said, "We're in 2024 now. It's about time we had a woman come forward and shape the story of a galaxy far, far away." Right, because that's what we were missing. Female representation in Star Wars. Now, just for reference, it's been just over 4 years since Rise of Skywalker obliterated the brain cells of moviegoers, along with the last remnants of goodwill Star Wars fans had left. With these announcements, Disney Lucasfilm has shown that they have learned nothing. They have no interest in changing course, and that's led many to speculate the new film will be DOA, another flop in the making, and that gives us the perfect opportunity to revisit an old internet debate. Is it okay to root for something to fail? Are we justified in celebrating with the commercial collapse of movies, TV shows, video games, and comics? This debate mostly has two sides. Those who believe if you don't like a given piece of media, you should just shut up about it and let others enjoy it. That rooting for something to fail is mean-spirited and vindictive. The other side consists of fan bases tired of seeing their beloved IPs run into the ground, either by greedy executives who think they can perpetually milk popular properties, or by talentless activists who see every franchise as a platform to spout their toxic ideology. Disney is by far not the only company guilty of this, but they are one of the most prominent, and they exemplify both of these issues. Truth be told, Disney ran out of ideas a long time ago. As a media titan, Disney was badly losing steam by the end of the 90s. They only forestalled their decline by buying Pixar, Marvel, and Lucasfilm, hoping to ride those companies' creative output into financial success. And it seemed to work for a little while, but then they became infected with political agenda, employing activists at every level of management. Disney turned from an entertainment company to an activist company, more interested in preaching at their audience than thrilling them. You can even see this in recent statements from the head of Pixar, Pete Docter, who said they need to find new ways to speak to audiences. No, Pete, you don't need to speak to us. You just need to entertain us. Even if you take the most benign reading of Pete's statement, it reveals a studio head too in love with the perceived impact of Pixar's past, the way a number of films have had lasting resonance with audiences. But wanting to duplicate the effect you once had is not the same thing as wanting to tell good stories. When your goal is making a good film, you sometimes find that the film has an impact on people. But if your goal is to make an impact on people, more often than not you wind up with pretentious, overrated garbage. And here it might be appropriate to point out there are a couple kinds of failure we're dealing with here. One is a creative failure, where companies and the people that employ them are failing to fulfill their primary mandate. That's to please customers. To produce products that people want and are willing to pay for. Keeping an audience entertained may be a simple concept to grasp, but that doesn't mean it's easy, and I don't mean to imply that it is. However, one surefire way to kill your brand is by baiting an audience with something you know they want, then delivering something you know they don't, and then blaming them when that thing fails because, shocker, they didn't buy something they didn't want. That leads to the second kind of failure, when media products don't turn a profit, leading to financial failure, ruin, angry investors, lost jobs, and fired CEOs. Now I know what you're probably thinking, that little ditty that's been repeated and debated around the internet till it induces eye-rolling even those who will passively agree. But whether it's get woke, go broke, or go broke, get woke, I don't think it matters, and I don't care. It all ends in the same fiery trash heap, and it's not the point of this video. The question was and is, as we watch once mighty companies like Marvel and Disney crash and burn, is it okay to want to see them fail? To ratio every new trailer and predict doom on each new title announced? Are we justified in celebrating when said predictions come true and movies bomb at the box office? Should we just ignore it all? Shut up and let people enjoy whatever Amazon, Bethesda, Marvel, or Disney shovel out their front door? To give my answer, I'll have to make another point, which I present with a question. Is failure really the worst thing that can happen? Is it the absolute evil thing that some think it is? Now don't get me wrong, failure isn't fun. It generally isn't something anyone sets out to do. But failure is often the best teacher. As we examine what went wrong, we can learn and improve. If we fail to learn from our failures, we are doomed to repeat them. Failure is inevitable. Entropy is a force of this world. Nothing lasts forever. At some point, everything ends, including our favorite franchises and characters. If we don't allow some things to end, nothing new can be allowed to grow. Like when dead undergrowth chokes a forest, until a cleansing fire sweeps it away and makes room for new life to flourish. As I said before, the greed of companies seeking the unsustainability of perpetual growth, and the toxic ideology-driven messaging of activists is killing many of the characters and stories we grew up with. But you hit a point where the economic fires sweeping through Hollywood, gaming, and the comic book industry are needed to wipe the slate clean. So yes, it's okay to root for failure. It's okay to celebrate when the forces of entropy do what they're supposed to do. And yes, in the short term it'll hurt to let franchises that we love go. But we still have them, and we can go back to them whenever we want. And we can look ahead, knowing that something new will rise from the ashes. But that's just one Rebel's opinion. Leave a comment below if you agree or disagree. Like the video, and keep coming back for more on Rebel Normal.